Good day, everyone. Welcome to Technology and Learning to 101. This is my thoughts about the things that I learned from our previous discussion, particularly in lesson 3 and lesson 4. So, if we are going to go back to what we have discussed in lesson 3, we are trying to understand about the technology learners. So, we all know that in the 21st century, technology is very evident that that to a point wherein it is something that people can't live without, and there is no excuse for that in terms of in the field of education. So in the field of education, there is this what we call the inclusion of the ICT. So ICT means information communication technology. So it is not just a mere fact that a sign of innovation of every country, but the involvement of ICT aims to help the students and the teachers in the learning process. So the only thing that differs is that if we are going to compare how the students are being taught 20 years or 30 years ago compared to present is a lot different. So a lot of teachers nowadays are trying to teach the children in a conventional manner, the kind of technique were in effective way back 30 years ago. But they are trying to solve this particular problem because there is a gap in terms of learning. And we can't deny the fact that the students nowadays, especially in the 21st century, is that there is this involvement of the technology. There are cell phones, there are internet, there are social medias. There are plenty of things that they can do when they are going to go to their schools. Every student has a mobile phones, smartphones in particular. So all the information being given can be found easily in the internet. So that is the thing that gives a lot of challenge to every teacher. So challenges like being addicted to online games, um, being exposed to different things in the internet that is not good for them, and majority of the students doesn't have the love of reading, and that is something that is very alarming because we all know how important reading, and it gives the students a wider view, a wider perspective over something. It develops their critical thinking, it develops their vocabulary, and that is something that the students is lacking nowadays. So how we are going to eradicate or solve this problem? Maybe for me, one of my suggestions or one of my thoughts about this particular challenge that they are facing is that it should be a collaboration between the parents and the teachers to guide their students, to guide them, to inform them about the disadvantages of too much attachment into technology. Yes, it is good knowing that they know how to operate those mobile phones, those things, they know how to search of their own and find something over the internet. But we can't deny the fact that those disadvantages largely affect them in terms of their thinking. So aside from that problem, since Philippines is a third world country, there is a gap in terms of the facilities that they are using in their schools. For instance, in some universities in the Philippines or in the majority of the first world countries, when there are innovation and technology, they can easily purchase those innovations, and they can easily gather those things to help their students, to help the teachers and their as to give them the tools that is necessary in the inclusion of ICT in their learning process. Whereas in the Philippines, not all students can afford to have smartphones, and we can't deny the fact that a lot of individuals in the Philippines are marginalized. So whatever may be the issues in the education, what's important is that we should always remember that it is the job of the teachers, it is the job of the parents, and also for the community to help the students in molding their career and in molding their in terms of education. So there are issues that being raised that because of social medias, because of the involvement of the internet, the socialization process of the students had changed. Before, there is a face-to-face interaction between two students, but now they prefer to use their mobile phones to contact with their loved ones or their friends, and that is something also that is very alarming. But that kind of mode of communication is inevitable for me because we are embracing the technology and we are using it as a part of our daily life, and we can't deny the fact that the technology is very useful for us, not just in our day-to-day life but also in our job and the things that we do, our what we call this, our pastime also. And what we can do as a community, we should try to reevaluate ourselves. We should help the students to understand why there is a limitation in using gadgets and using their social media accounts. There should be a limit to that because adults should be the one to guide them, for them to be able to know the things that is necessary for them to understand the current situation. I guess that's my thoughts about the topic that we have discussed. Um, After all, what matters the most is the outcome of the students, how they are going to achieve their dreams, how to be, how to instill those information that is necessary for them, and it can be a tool that can be used in their future endeavor. That's it for today. Bye.